The Maximum Happiness and Wellbeing Course, Part 2, Session 15, The Power of Acceptance. Discover how acceptance, and in particular self-acceptance, can transform your life and directly improve your experience of happiness. Learn how to increase your acceptance, because the greater your acceptance, the happier you will become. Acceptance leads naturally to the immensely powerful trait of appreciation. Self-acceptance, being comfortable with who you are. No one is perfect, yet we often expect ourselves to be. When we learn to accept ourselves, we'll likely be happier and better at learning and growing. How we feel about ourselves can greatly influence our happiness and resilience. We'll make mistakes. Sometimes failing is an important component of psychological well-being. It's certainly an important part of success. It doesn't mean we won't feel bad when we mess up or make a mistake, but we don't dwell on it as much or beat ourselves up. This means we are more able to learn, grow and move on. We're also less likely to feel ashamed and withdraw from others, and it can boost our relationships and compassion towards others. Social media makes it very easy to compare how we feel inside ourselves to how we perceive others. Yet most of us only post the best images of ourselves online. We may even have to edit or filter our photos to make us look how we think we should rather than how we are. We seek others' likes to validate the images we've posted, and we feel bad about ourselves if we don't get enough of them. This can affect us at any age, but can be especially damaging when we're young. Being more able to know and accept our whole self, to be real rather than trying to be perfect, is a firmer foundation for a happier life at any age. Self-acceptance. You don't have to change who you are or what you have to be happy. Instead, you have to change the emotion that you are expressing. If you are expressing anger, then you will feel angry. If you express jealousy or guilt, you will feel jealous and guilty. If you express love, you will likely experience happiness and fulfillment. We often associate feeling happy with who we were with, what we had, or what we were doing. However, those external things and people did not make us happy. It was the love we were expressing at the time that fulfilled us. Happy people spend time doing what they love, with people they love, and working on things that they're passionate about. The common element is different from what they achieve or what they're doing. The common element that creates happiness is that they express love in all those instances, whether for who they are with or for what they are doing. Self-acceptance is the first step toward expressing love for yourself. If trying to be something different expresses self-rejection, then the solution is to create an expression of self-acceptance. Saying this in words is simple. Doing it is more challenging. Self-acceptance is being loving and happy with who you are now. A sense of belonging starts with self-acceptance. Humans have a deep-seated need to be liked, respected and accepted. Sometimes that need is so strong it drives us to alter our behaviours to feel like we belong, especially at work or in social situations. The experience of belonging is unique in that it doesn't only come down to your family, friends, organisation, manager or teammates. You have a role to play too, starting with your self-acceptance. We all have the power to accept who we are at our core. This means owning our qualities, our values and choices, regardless of how others perceive us. It also means showing up for and believing in ourselves first. Self-acceptance requires practice to overcome the biases many of us have held against ourselves since childhood. We're conditioned to think certain characteristics are in or out, good or less good, favourable or unfavourable. This is the source of the universally experienced phenomenon known as imposter syndrome, the cause of many derailed lives and careers. This is also why, as adults, we need to do the work to unlearn our biases, especially the ones we have against ourselves. Unconditional self-acceptance. The first step in working on yourself is not just self-acceptance, but unconditional self-acceptance. Accepting ourselves when we do something great, win an award, fall in love, or start a fantastic new job is easy. But accepting ourselves at our lowest and with our faults and flaws in stark relief is the real mark of unconditional self-acceptance. Unconditional self-acceptance is understanding that you are separate from your actions and your qualities. You accept that you've made mistakes and flaws, but you don't let them define you. You accept that as a fallible human being, you're less than perfect. You'll often perform well, but you'll also make mistakes and err at times. You unconditionally accept yourself without judgment always. When you practice unconditional self-acceptance, you can begin to love yourself, embrace your authentic self, and work on improving your less than desirable traits and qualities. So, do you accept yourself? What an odd question. What does it even mean to accept yourself? Don't we all accept ourselves as a regular part of our daily lives? Self-acceptance is not an automatic or default state. Many of us have trouble accepting ourselves exactly as we are. It's not hard to accept our good parts, but what about the rest? Surely we shouldn't accept our flaws and failures. That's exactly what we should do. Self-acceptance is an individual's acceptance of all of his or her attributes, positive or negative. The acceptance process. Acceptance exists at the core of your being. It's your default status. You only need to remove the items on top to reach this base level of acceptance. To do this, you must first identify all the things you do not like about yourself. Then, one by one, eliminate them by examining and questioning your beliefs around that issue. A simplified version of the acceptance process. 1. Know yourself and your beliefs. 2. Take a good hard look at your honesty level. 3. Know you are doing the best that you can. 4. Relax your value judgments. 5. Examine your guilt. 6. Understand your motivations. And 7. Ask yourself questions about what you don't accept. Accepting yourself unconditionally. Self-acceptance begins in infancy, with the influence of your parents, siblings and other important people. Your level of self-acceptance is determined by how well you feel the important people in your life accept you. Your attitude toward yourself is determined by the attitudes you think other people have towards you. When you believe others think highly of you, your self-acceptance and self-esteem increase. The best way to build a healthy personality involves understanding yourself and your feelings. This is achieved through the simple exercise of self-disclosure. To truly understand yourself, or to stop being troubled by things that may have happened in your past, you must be able to disclose yourself to at least one other person. You have to be able to get those things off your chest. You must rid yourself of those thoughts and feelings by revealing them to someone who won't judge you or make you feel guilty or ashamed for what has happened. Stop your inner monologue from controlling your life. The inner voice in our brain can be distracting and difficult to ignore sometimes. The image of an angel on one shoulder and a demon on the other, whispering into either ear, may bring back childhood innocence when those voices often dictated our behaviours and actions. As adults, we still have this inner monologue. For some, this internal conversation can rule their lives. Your internal dialogue is quite simply your thoughts. The little voice in your head comments on your life, whether that is what is going on around you or what you are thinking consciously or subconsciously. We all have an internal dialogue that runs all the time. Some of us, however, may pay more attention to it than others and be more skilled at manipulating it. Internal dialogue is the way in which you apply logic to what's happening, although the logic may sometimes be skewed or driven by your emotions or experiences. So how can the inner voices, this inner monologue, control your life? It's good for our brains to rehearse or practice through situations. We may feel more prepared and less anxious because we've imagined different scenarios and what success and happiness will look like. However, verbal thinking can also begin to subtly control our lives and even slow down our thought processes. We structure our thoughts in specific patterns because of language, but words can quickly lead us astray. Instead of verbalizing success, we may focus on the reasons for failure. This negative internal voice or bias can whisper all the bad things that could occur, distracting us from the decisions or tasks. The brain's negative bias was explained in session 11 of this course. There are ways to help control this inner voice, including meditation, by practicing imagery. Imagine a cinema screen in your mind to visualize and manipulate your thoughts and emotions. The default mode network, or DMN as it's known, brain activity that occurs when we aren't actively focused, drives our inner voice. Imagery can help control negative inner speech. Instead of thinking about a conversation which might occur, focus on an image of what could happen. Think about how you would address various issues while keeping a picture of success in your mind. Indeed, learning how to use mental imagery can help maximize success, as many elite athletes have found. Everyone has an inner voice. The one that's a negative Nancy or Nigel, ignore that voice. Be confident and follow your heart. We all have moments when our internal dialogue seems to go off by itself and can spiral into a negative tirade. When you feel this happening to you, it can be helpful to tell yourself to stop, as this pulls you up short and reminds you that this is unhelpful. Some people find that a firm but gentle mental tone and an assertive "stop that" works best. Others feel the need to speak out loud to get the full effect. You may need to experiment to find the best formula for you.